Hola, buenos tardes. I want to come on today in this new moon energy in Gemini and just kind of discuss, a couple of things as I've done for like past couple of weeks, I guess. Um, my name is Belisa, as some of you all may know. We're going live on Facebook and YouTube. So I want you at this time to think big, think bigger. This is the time, this new moon energy is time to set those intentions and those manifestations that are probably larger than normal. I know I have asked for a few things. I write them down. I'm all for writing down for the things that you want and you're asking for. And I looked at my list. I made a list of all the things that I've asked for recently since I've been in Mexico. And really before I even got here. And I said, you know what? I don't want to ask for the same things anymore. Let me think bigger. Let me think about some other things that I want and I want to see happen. And so I got that, and that is what I am working on manifesting. And with that, I want to kind of talk about what I'm doing in Mexico, the work that I'm doing. If you have kind of been paying attention to my YouTube and to my Facebook, you'll basically see um, the Afro Mexican communities of Veracruz, Mexico. On my YouTube and on Facebook, you'll find the grief in the community. I'm looking at these Afro Indigenous, these Afro Mexican communities, those of African descent outside of the United States. Right now, I feel like it's that time that we, may make some other plans and do some other things and connect with those communities that we haven't been connecting with. Recently, I met with someone that is the municipal agent of the Afro Mexican community of Mandinga, and she is working on getting recognition as an African settlement um, in this country. Afro Mexicans aren't haven't been recognized in the country. They just appeared on the 2020 census, and at that time they said it was about 2.5 million Afro Mexicans. But of course, we know there are more than that. A lot of times, these Afro Mexican communities are hidden. They are off to themselves. They're not just among just all the rest of the people. They're living their lives and doing their things. Yesterday, I took another visit to Anton Lazario, which is an Afro Mexican community, and I have some pics of a Negro that we ran into. They are very they he was about as dark as I am, and speak Spanish. So I want to highlight those people. And there's not only is there the community of Mandinga, there's the community of Yanga, who is recognized as the first free black settlement of the Americas in Veracruz, Mexico. A lot of Mexicans don't even know these places exist. So certainly a lot of people in the U.S., a lot of black people in the U.S. don't know either. With that, I want to also talk about the why. I've definitely been led to come to this area. Um, I This was not something that I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go and do these things." It's just spirit led me to do these things, and in honor of my ancestors, I am doing what it is that they have allowed me and given me that opportunity and privilege to do. One thing about this year, 2025, the year of nine, the year of Oya, which she is the keeper of the ancestors, is that honoring those ancestors. honoring those that have come before you, that have gone before you, honoring those that loved you and you loved them as well. Not necessarily worship, but honoring. Your ancestors have information for you. That's if you want to receive that. They have clarity if you want to receive that. So if you find yourself not really being happy, not really knowing what your purpose is in life, your ancestors, calling on those ancestors is a way to find out. Now, I know it may be a little strange for some of you, especially those who grew up in the South and that are Christian, because of course I grew up in a missionary Baptist church, honey. Look, I think before you basically, if you were from the South, you grew up in the church, basically. But as you get older, you'll find that some of the things that you grew up with um, may not um, may not be all that you need. I'll say it that way. Not that you need to give anything up. You may find that you can still incorporate Christianity into, honoring your ancestors as well, because many of our ancestors were Christian. But then some of our ancestors also did some other things that has basically been demonized. But that's not at all what it is. So one thing that I know for sure about my ancestors is that it was very important for them to leave land, leave property for the next generation, for their kids, for their kids' kids. It was very important for them to do that. And so I found a way to where I can honor them through buying land, through purchasing land in the area where that I grew up in and that they were in owned properties. So I'm originally from Memphis. And so what I did last year in honor of my ancestors was, one, I started renovating the house that was left to my mom and my aunt by my ancestor, Uncle Fred. This is someone that I never met, but it was important for him to leave property to those that will live on. And so I have that. And so I started renovating that property. And also I started buying land across the street from my grandparents' home in the same neighborhood. And I bought that from the Shelby County Land Bank. So I have some things that I am working on and that I will continue to work on until, I can leave some things to my kids, for my grandkids, for those that come after me. And hopefully that it'll continue on. Another thing is last year, well, before that, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, when I was a little girl, I remember being in the store that my grandfather had a corner store in Bunker Hill in Memphis. And I remember being with my grandmother and my great grandmother, and we were sitting in the back of the store. And I just remember her mentioning to me that her grandmother was Indian. And so at the time, I'm a little girl, it's like, okay. I remember her telling me this. And so it wasn't until last year I actually found a will with the grandmother that she mentioned, where she put in a will 60 acres of land in DeSoto County, Mississippi, that she was willing to her 6 daughters. And so the fact that this will was in the 1920s. And so where would a Black indigenous woman, how would she have 60 acres of land? So what that told me that in fact my grandmother, the second great grandmother was in fact indigenous, and that they had land, and it was very important for that land to be passed on. So even though I have no earthly idea what happened with that, but I know that I can honor those who came before me by having land, by purchasing land, because it was very important. It's also to break generational curses as well. But that's another thing. But like I said, in this new moon in Gemini, we want to think bigger, manifest bigger things that we probably have never really even thought that we could have. Once you believe that you can have bigger, you can have more, that you have abundance, then those things will start to come to you. I hope all is well with you. That's my message for today. Tomorrow, me and another person that's living abroad will be on at around 12:30 my time. It'll be 3:30 in Brazil, and we'll continue to talk about living abroad. But I just want to come and give you that message for whoever it's for. Adios. Ashe.